All right. Yeah. Thank you. I know it's the end of the day. I understand how you feel, but I'm here to pump you up and give you lots of more information. You can't hear me? Not very well? Are you guys good? You want to come up closer? Come right here. Come right here. Or come over here. There's some seats right here. Come up, come up. We're getting started over here. Life-changing information over here. I'm not kidding. It's good. This is one of my favorite topics. So if you're new to what's going on, my name is Kenny Bedwell. I am doing quick, highly informative, educational topics. There's no fluff. There's no sales pitch. It's all information and education to help you maximize your revenue. And eventually everyone will say the same line at the end. We'll all say it together. Because I've done this it's like 8 or 9 times now. So, but the topics are all different. Okay, and we've already seen success. Where did she go? I forgot. I just had someone come up to me 2 minutes ago. I was like, Kenny, what you just told me, I was able to apply and I got bookings immediately. That's beautiful, isn't it? 2 bookings. Sorry. Thank you, Ben. She talked to Ben first. All right, good. So I want the same thing for you guys, right? You guys want bookings? Yeah. All right, like one person wants bookings. Yes? Yeah, there we go. You all want more bookings. I'm going to help you. So this is one of my favorite topics because it pertains to your ranking. But I talked about this a little bit yesterday with ranking, that the ranking doesn't actually matter. What really matters? Someone tell me. The experience. What else? Getting the actual bookings, right? Yep. Actually making the money. That's what happens when you get the bookings. You don't want to give them away for free. You want to have bookings that make you money. So the ranking, people get caught up in the rank. Oh, I'm ranked so low on Airbnb. I'm not getting booked. But the real problem isn't the actual ranking. It's not getting the bookings. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk a lot about ranking. Now, ranking does have a correlation. Obviously, the higher you rank, the more likely you are to get booked. So that's why people put a lot of stress on that. But the reality is, stop focusing on the specific ranking or the page and more so on how you can attract the right guests through the strategies that I'm going to teach you. Okay? Now, so the title, there's 3 major categories. And once again, like I said, we're going to talk a lot about ranking and how to boost that. But the point isn't about ranking. It's about getting more bookings. So the 3 core things, and there's a bunch of little things that are within these, but the 3 core things that impact your ranking are pricing, the listing, and amenities in Airbnb, okay? Now, I'm not up here telling you I'm an Airbnb algorithm hack. I'm not saying that. I don't know the algorithm. I just have data of bookings, meaning I look at properties that do certain things and they make more money, and I know why. And I've correlated it to these 3 things. Okay? So when people come up to me and they say, first off, can you hear better? Okay, all right, good. I just want to make sure. So when people come up to me and they say, Kenny, I'm not getting any bookings. I'm not making any money. What do I do? Should I get rid of my property or what can I do? I go into this mode. So this is the breakdown. So let's get into it, all right? Because the anticipation is there. I see it in your faces. Let's do it. All right, so obviously these are success stories. We literally just had a success story today, like I mentioned, because this works. All right. Oops, down there. There we go. So the mechanisms to increase your bookings, which is the actual goal. Not the ranking, but the bookings. But the ranking will rise because of doing these actions. So there's 3 things I look for. So whether someone comes up to me asking about amenities or the competition or whatever going on, why they're not getting bookings, I look at these 3 things in order. Keywords in order. Number 1, pricing, property, and amenities. I'm going to spend more time on these first 2 and blow through this one because I feel like I've already done a ton of stuff on amenities. And if you missed it, I'm sorry. So, all right. How do you know? First thing I look at, is it a problem with pricing? Meaning, is that property overpriced? Guys, okay. Just make sure Price Labs is back there. I personally use Price Labs, okay? But they will agree with me. I think I even saw their I don't know if that was their CEO on the stage or whoever it was. They will agree with me that it's like a vehicle. It's a car, meaning he even said it. You have to use audit, so it automates your pricing, but you also have to drive the thing, right? You have to tell it. You can't just set it and forget it. A lot of people, especially if you owned pre-2023, we could set it and forget it and we'd made money and it cranked. And a lot of people are getting frustrated with dynamic pricing because you have to actually put in effort with it, okay? And the reality is, how do you know if you got it right? There's a very simple way. You guys want to know? Yes. Okay, just making sure. If not, we can move on. Alive. You're alive. All right, good. We'll keep it going. This is how you know. So this is an example calendar I took of a client's property. She's like, Kenny, I don't have any bookings. I'm not making any money. There's nothing going on. Is it my amenities? Like, what's wrong with my property? She had a beautiful property. And I said, sure, let's see if it's your pricing. So there's symptoms. We're looking for symptoms that tell us what the problem is. And the first thing I look for is pricing. And the pricing symptom I see is a calendar that looks like this. Okay. Yesterday, I talked about in detail what booking lead time means, meaning that should you be booked and so booking lead time is how far out people are booking. It's a present day metric, right? So as of today, how far out are people booking? So if I know my booking lead time and I look at my calendar and it looks like this, I got a pricing problem. And it's like 95% a pricing problem issue, okay? And meaning that your prices are too high. Now, I want to kind of put a disclaimer on that because it's not about whether your prices are too high. It's about pricing at the right times. Your pricing strategy, go talk to the revenue management people, should change season to season, right? Okay? Meaning, like for me in my lake markets, I'm going to be more aggressive during the wintertime when it's competitive. Meaning, like I'm going to look at my competitors. I call it the Lay's chip analogy. Meaning, like I look at all my competitors and I rank myself. I go, this property is the best one. It looks the nicest. You know, I'm like number 2. Then there's 3, 4, 5 through 10 or however many properties. I rank myself. Everybody is like, and you can call yourself the Lay's, the brand model, because I'm assuming your properties are better than everybody else's or maybe on par. If you're the Lay's, you're competing at Walmart with what other chip? Great Value, right? A cheap, crusty chip. But if there's not that many shoppers buying chips and Lay's is like 30, 40, even 50% higher, and people are price sensitive during the off season, what's going to happen? They're not going to buy the Lay's, even though it's better, because they're going to get the cheaper option, the Great Value. So what does Lay's have to do? It has to discount down. It doesn't have to be the lowest, doesn't have to be below the other ones. It has to be slightly above it and be aggressive during that off season. But in the summertime, when everybody's having barbecues, everybody's buying chips, Lay's doesn't care what the competition's doing. It changes, right? So when I look, people think that they have to employ the same pricing strategy every single month. The reality is it changes over time. And the symptom that they're not doing it right, your calendar looks like this. It's pricing. Does everybody got that? Yes. What's my booking window?
Yeah. For a calendar, 90 days, 180 days.
Oh, how far I do it? So part of the Airbnb algorithm, like it can influence, is opening up as far as you can. So for me personally, I'll do up to a year. Yeah. If you have a larger property, you definitely should do up to a year. That will help you in the rankings as well. It's minuscule help, but it does help you. Pricing, Airbnb, here's the fact, guys. We want to I'm not saying we want to be stupid about our pricing and just slash to 0, but here's the fact of the matter. Airbnb, you guys notice they want you to price lower. Even their CEO is like, hey guys, we think we want you to cut your cleaning fees. And he kind of like said, oh, that might impact your ranking. It actually doesn't. But I mean, he's kind of let's be honest, a tool for doing that to the host, right? He wants you to slash your prices to incentivize guests to book because he's getting his fee no matter what. All right. So, but we don't need to necessarily like go against the flow. We can lean into it when we need to and then back out of it based on demand. So what I'm teaching you is go with the demand, not with what everybody else is saying. Okay? When I say by that, it's like, don't just slash your prices to zero at all times. Be aggressive in the off season and I guess I don't know if it's non-aggressive, but the opposite of that in the hot season. Okay? Great. So if I see a calendar like that and your rankings are low, you're not getting bookings. Well, obviously you're not getting bookings with a calendar like that. If your rankings are low, it's because your pricing's too high. Okay? Let's move on. Let's talk about listing. This is a more broad one. Okay, I'm going to sit this down because it's annoying. So when I talk about listing, it consists of these 4 key things. Number 1, photos. Number 2, ratings and reviews. Number 3, quality of the property. And number 4, listing description. I'm just going to make sure I end on time. 6:30. Okay. So I want to spend some time on this because each one of these, I'm going to teach you some hacks for each one of these to increase your rankings. Now I'm going to focus on rankings here, which will boost your bookings like we talked about. But here are the hacks. Let's start with photos. Did you know that Airbnb looks at the quality of your photos and the type of photos? Did you guys know that? They have some sort of weird AI tool. I don't even know what it is, but they do. I've talked to employees there. They said, yeah, we look at the quality of photos. Okay? The type of photos matter. Obviously, you guys should know by now, hopefully, please, 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 get professional photography, right? But the problem is with that statement is that's too broad. Every freaking real estate photographer thinks they're a short-term real estate photographer. It's not the same thing, okay? I've used wedding photographers, and they do a really good job too, because they take photography from an emotional stance. It's different. Think about that option. And I have used like some really good real estate photographers who do a good job, but I go through a lot of photography because it's important. But I can't believe I don't have a slide for this. I don't know why, but we need to talk about this. Airbnb is looking for specific photos, and it will boost you in the rankings if you have them. So what are those photos? Number 1, drone shots of the entire house. Number 2, shots with water. Number 3, if you're in an urban market, shots from inside the house to the outside, preferably with a view. Okay? Number 4, greenery. And number 5, a full shot of the outside of the house. So there's a drone shot from above, and then there's the shot down below, like of the whole house, which is pretty common. We see that one a lot. Now, if you don't believe me, or you're like, that's interesting, but I wonder what it is for my market, or I don't have access to water, or I don't have this, or my house wouldn't look pretty with a drone shot, or whatever excuse you have going on in your head, here's what you do to know which pictures you should have as your hero image on Airbnb. All you do is you go on Airbnb.com, and the first properties, because it knows your location, it looks at your IP, and don't even type in a market. Don't type in your market. Don't do anything. Just go on Airbnb.com, and the first properties it shows you on the site, look at those images. They're going to be drone shots. They're going to have shots of water, shots of views, shots of the particular area that you're currently in. Okay? Now, if you're like, well, my property's all the way in Alaska, type in Alaska in the market and look at those top properties that it's going to show you. Or what I like to do, instead of like putting that in so I don't see like the rankings, I'll go into Google and type in Alaska Airbnbs, and Airbnb's SEO will start showing you random top properties there, and you can see the hero image. It's those things I talked about, right? They're looking for those things, okay? So drone shots outside of the home, shots with water, any shot of water you can get. That's always high one. Greenery inside the home, and then finally shots with views that you could see outside from the home. Those are the biggest ones, okay? If you don't believe me, go check it out for yourself. Ratings and reviews. Let's take a poll. I love these. I love taking polls with the audience because I am looking for a specific answer. Someone will be right and someone will be wrong. Which is more important to the Airbnb algorithm? Ratings, meaning like your star rating, or the number of reviews you have? So who thinks it's ratings? Like if you get a 5-star rating, you get bumped up. Who thinks it's the number of reviews you have? Okay. Good job, guys. That's right. Oh, you listened to me. Dang it. All right. It's not new information. Okay. Guy, it's really weird though. So I heard this from on stage, and it's actually, anyway, I'm not going to say it isn't correct, but the data actually points to it's more important to get the review than to worry about the star ranking of that review. That's crazy. We're all obsessed with getting 5-star reviews. And I mean, I'll get pissed if I'm like, that guest gave me 4 stars because they didn't like the type of soap I have. Like, that's so infuriating, you know? And I'm like, but it's not about the rating that Airbnb cares about. It's the fact that you got the review. So in the algorithm to increase your ranking, which helps your bookings, it's not about getting the 5-star. It's about getting reviews, and it's called the popularity index. Look at Amazon, look at Google, look at all these other like storefront products, right? The ones, if you go on Amazon right now and you type in top TVs in a market, right? Or just TVs at Amazon, it's going to spit out a random list of TVs, and it's not based on rating. It's based on the number of reviews. It's based on the number of people that are talking about that particular item. That's what Airbnb is looking for. Remember, they're focused on guests booking the property. So they're only going to show properties that guests want to book based on a proven track record. So if you don't have reviews and you're not getting any traction with the reviews, they're not going to show your property. That's why you're ranking low. So really, really focus on getting your reviews. Okay, now I'm not saying have a bad host, like hospitality. Like obviously we want 5 stars to keep superhost status, but 47% of Airbnb hosts are already superhosts. Is that so super? Sounds like more like duper. Super duper. Anyway, so the number of reviews are most important.
Also a function of if your guest doesn't like it but feels bad leaving a bad review, then they just won't leave a review.
That's a possibility too.
Maybe bad review.
Maybe. I haven't really think about it. I think I'll go that way. Yeah. So what we're trying to show guys in our listings is that our listing is popular. It doesn't have to be the best looking house or have the best pictures or whatever all the best amenities. We're just showing that people like to stay at our place because they're talking about the place, right? That's what you care about. Who's leaving me reviews? I guarantee you. So there's statistical data. Or run, don't. I'll stop. I'm just kidding. He's coming over. He's like, wait, stop. All right, you're still there. Yeah, he's like, oh, no, that's all the good stuff. So there is statistical evidence to show that getting a 5-star review earns you about $40, okay, for a 5-star. You know what getting one more review gets you on average per property? It averages to about $300, just getting one review. So that means like one more review, hosts that have one more review than you make $300 more than you. Okay, now if you start increasing that, you see how that multiplies? Yes. So getting reviews is more important. So what does that mean? That means that if you improved your percentage of guests that leave reviews, you'll make more money. You'll also increase in the rankings. Does that make sense? So your messaging needs to be really important. So for me personally, I will send guest messages before prepping them to leave me a review. I'll say, hey, Susan, I'm so glad you booked my place. I'm ready. I'm going to deliver you a 5-star experience. I keep saying that throughout. Hey, Susan, I know you're checking in tomorrow. Here's all the instructions. If you follow everything, you're going to have a 5-star stay. That's what I want to give you. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. Hey, Susan, first morning after, I hope you're having a 5-star stay. Like it's like burned in their head. And out of the 4 years I've been doing this, I've only had one person go, I hate that you keep saying 5-star. They gave me a 5-star. So I was like, whatever, to each his own. But like, I prep people and then I ask for the review. And guess what? I don't just say, hey, will you leave me a review? What do I ask for? A 5-star review. If you feel like everything's great, give me that 5-star review. And they've been prepped. And 80%, and then there's another little hack too. So when I was doing this, I improved my number of reviews from 30 to 60. The other hack I did with this to improve from 60 to now 80 is I text my guests afterwards. Because a lot of guests don't check the Airbnb app, only for checking instructions. We even do this. I did this the other day. I'm like, I don't check the app. I got to look it up. So I text my guests afterwards and say, hey, a couple days after, I noticed you didn't leave me a review. Do you mind? Here's the link. And I send it to them. And 9 times out of 10, I get the review. They'll do it for me. And that has increased my revenue. Yes.
Do you do only that once, or do you continue?
I'll do it once. Yeah, I'm not going to bug them to death. Also, I forget. It's like,
What link do you send?
So you can send them. It's like a general link for reviews, and it will take them where it says like, here are the reviews you have to leave. Just like we as hosts have a specific link, because they'll have a unique link for the reviews, but just take them to that page, and they're already signed into their app, and it'll just boom, like pull up that, and then it'll say, how was your stay at Kenny's place?
Like the resolution center, or
Yeah.
Airbnbs.
So, like the resolution center, that's what she said. Yep, exactly. Okay, so we understand why getting reviews is really important to improving your rankings. So, if your rankings are low, here's what you do: you go get reviews. You get really active in getting reviews. Okay, and there's some ways to do that. Quality of the property, how nice the property is. This actually matters. Airbnb is looking at this stuff. Okay, and they're actually using AI to look at the reviews to determine this stuff too. So keep that in mind with your properties if you're thinking about doing that update. It is important, will be important, and obviously will increase, people's desire to be there and less problems. Finally, listing description. Okay, how is your copy? It's really, really important. I see people talk about, oh, you need to have descriptive, imagery, copy, tell like, imagine staying at this, location with amazing views, and you're like, life is transformed. And other people are like, here are the bullet points. But we need to have clear instructions. We need to have every single thing filled out. That is important. And guess what? Descriptions on the photos are important as well. Okay? If you're low in your rankings, you can change some of your copies, add some of the stuff, rearrange some of your photos. That will give you a minuscule bump, but it's about filling everything out. Look for that first, and then think about rearranging some of your photos to help. But that's like a very minuscule thing that you can do. Yeah.
Data or like insight on like bulleted listing descriptions versus like paragraph.
I don't. Not yet. I could figure it out, but it takes some time. But yeah, that's a good one. Well, mental note. Maybe next year I'll be like, this is the thing. That's an interesting one. Okay. So guys, this is the stuff that really gets you up in the rankings right here. Mainly these two. Okay? So think of Airbnb algorithm as like certain things have a huge swing in your listing and the rankings, right? Pricing is number 1. Ratings and reviews are number 2. Photos are number 3. Okay? And then the rest of it's like, kind of in pieces. I don't know the rest of the order because there's actually like hundreds of different like things that can improve your ranking, but they're all very minuscule. Like, oh, you rearrange some of your photos. That's like a minor bump that you can get. But these other things are more important. All right, last one. So, and I've talked about this before, so I'm going to highlight it and move on. But this is really, so if it's not your pricing and your listing is already optimized, you need to look at your amenities. Okay. Now, going back to the photos, this ties directly into photos. What you do with your amenities is really, really important. So when I look at a property like this is in the same market. I've showed this one like 3 times already. It's in the same market. They both have hot tubs. And this one's actually lakefront. These are the real pictures from Airbnb. Which one's making more money? The one on the left, right? Why? Shows the experience. The picture looks better. Yeah. I mean, like, it's even a smaller hot tub. This house is the same bedroom count, but it's smaller. It's in a worse location. But the way they do the pictures and the way they're marketing that particular amenity is what's bringing them more revenue than this other property. Okay? So before you think about, oh, I got to add more amenities to my property, consider marketing them better. Okay? Here's another example, and I love this one. So this was Hollywood, Florida. So this is a pool property near the beach, a block away, same size as this pool property. This property is a mile away from this property, a mile away from the beach, and it's making $65,000 more, and it's the same size property. This pool, in my opinion, if it wasn't such a bad photo, looks it looks like a nice pool, maybe even better than that one. But the way they did their lighting, the way they're marketing their photo, brings in more listing, brings in more bookings. Okay, keep moving. So one of the biggest things, I'm going to really fly through this because I did a long thing on this yesterday, but leverage the reviews. So if you're like, okay, look, my pricing's good, my listing's optimized, What about amenities? What should I add to my property? The first thing you need to do is you need to go to the reviews of your top competitors, okay? So what I want you to do, go to your top competitors in your market, go to the reviews, copy their reviews. You're gonna go to ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT, what do guests like about their place? Basically ask them, why are they getting more bookings than me? What are they saying? What are guests telling them? And it will and list the top 5 amenities guests are saying about that particular property. In ChatGPT, here's my little prompt here. Examine the review text from the guests. You can take a picture of this if you want. And that stayed in my 2-bedroom Airbnb, and this was in Fort Myers, Florida. List out the top 5 positive things that guests are saying about the place. Okay? And it will tell you, I don't know if you want the prompt, sorry. Yeah, I got you. Everyone like pulled up and I was like, psych. So, all right, we're good. Do you want me to pose? I'm just kidding. Next to it, all right. So here's what it spit out. And the crazy thing is, guys, it's not going to say the same thing for every market. It won't. The order of these and what it says are going to be completely different. It's telling you what guests are saying about your particular market and their demographic. So here's the thing. It talks about cleanliness and comfort, number 1. Okay, duh. And then number 2, thoughtful amenities. What does that mean? And then it tells you specifically, they love these things, meaning that these things were specifically mentioned in the reviews in order, meaning that these things were mentioned more than these things. So it talks about complimentary waters. That's interesting. I don't do that. Beach gear, toys for kids, and even makeup towels. Now, some of these we might do, some of these we might not. But the reality is, it will tell you what you should add to your property based on what guests are saying. That is highly correlated to the data that we have that behind the scenes that you guys unfortunately don't have access to. What we have found is that the amenities that drive revenue, increase revenue, are highly correlated to what's being said in the reviews. And it's all about improving the guest experience. So if you're wondering what you should add to your property, take the reviews, plug them into ChatGPT, and tell it to summarize it for you. It's a 2-minute exercise, okay? I would say look at least 3 to 4 competitors' reviews, pile them together into ChatGPT, and then tell them to look. Don't just look at one, okay? So going back to this, let me just summarize everything. There we go. Is it my pricing? So, hey, Kenny, I'm down in my rankings. What can I do? Number 1, analyze your pricing. Number 2, look at your listing. Remember, the number 1 thing was we got photos, ratings, and reviews. And then we've got listing description. And then what was the last one? I don't remember what the last one was. Were you guys taking notes? It's a test. Quality of property. Thank you. You were taking notes. Good. The rest of you, I don't know. One second. I'll take your question in a second. So pricing, then the listing, and then you can consider adding amenities. And then market your, am I marketing my amenities right? Okay. Then think about adding amenities. And that's how you improve your ranking, therefore, or thus improving your bookings and making more money. That is all. Come up there and ask us questions. I know you guys have some questions, but I'd love to answer them. So I actually applause this time. Thank you.